So Ashes of Creation is finally coming to Steam Early Access on December 11th, and before you drop your money on it, we should talk about what you're actually buying into. This video is for MMORPG players who are curious about Ashes of Creation, maybe a little hyped, but not totally sure if this is the right MMO for them right now. I want to walk you through what Ashes of Creation actually is, where development really stands, what you get for your money, the good parts that are already fun, the bad parts that are absolutely going to frustrate some people, and then wrap up with who should buy it now and who should probably wait. My goal isn't to sell you the game or scare you away from it. I just want you to go into December 11th with your eyes open. Let's start with the basics. Ashes of Creation is a PvX sandbox MMORPG. That means it mixes open world PvP and PvE together in the same space, instead of cleanly separating them. The big headline feature is the node system, where player activity actually builds up and levels cities, unlocks dungeons and raids, and changes the world politically and economically over time. The idea is that the world of Vera evolves based on what players do, and different servers can end up feeling very different depending on which nodes grow and which ones get crushed. Development-wise, this game has been in the works since around 2016. It first popped into the public eye with a Kickstarter in 2017. Since then, we've had multiple iterations, systems that came and went, and even an entire separate game mode called Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, which was a battle royale used to test combat and networking. That mode ultimately didn't work out, and none of it really survived into the current version of the MMO. After that, we had Alpha 1 on Unreal Engine 4, which was rough but actually pretty fun for a lot of people. Then the project moved to Unreal Engine 5 for Alpha 2, and that caused a lot of rework. Tools and systems had to be rebuilt or heavily adapted, which slowed development but brought the game onto much more modern tech. Right now, as we head into Steam Early Access, Ashes of Creation is in Alpha 2 Phase 3, running on Unreal Engine 5. There has been talk from Steven Sharif about aiming for beta in 2026, but that still puts us roughly a year or more away from anything that feels like a near-launch state. This is important to understand. Steam might say early access, but in reality this is still very much in alpha. So what actually exists in the game today? At the core, the main systems are up and running in a testable state. Combat works. You've got the fundamental class kits. Artisanship, meaning gathering, processing, and crafting, is in the game and functional. The early economy hooks are there. The node system is in, at least in its earlier forms. Caravans and crates are working so you can move goods between areas with PvP risk. The Harbinger event system, which is a rotating corruption event system with some narrative flavor, is being rolled out with the Steam release. Sport fishing is also coming online. There are still plenty of placeholder systems, but you can see the skeleton of what Ashes is trying to become. What's missing is equally important. The game is currently capped at level 25 for your character progression. We don't even have one completely fleshed out continent just yet. And the full vision includes 2 continents plus additional major areas. Several biomes are still incomplete. A lot of points of interest are missing. The questing and narrative systems are only just starting to come together, so there are large stretches where you feel the absence of structured content. That really shows up once you get past the early levels. Now, what do you actually get for your money on December 11th? The early access bundle is priced around $50 with a launch discount during the first couple of weeks that brings it a bit lower. That purchase gives you access to Alpha 2, access to both beta phases, access to the PTR test realm, 1 month of subscription time when the game fully launches, and a non-exclusive cosmetic cloak. It's also worth remembering that Ashes of Creation is planned as a subscription MMO at launch, roughly $15 a month in the US, with regional pricing elsewhere. So you're not buying a finished box product and walking away. You're paying to get into the development cycle early and committing, at least in theory, to a subscription once the game actually releases. Refunds are another big reality check. In the past, Intrepid's own store had a very generous refund term. You had 90 days. As long as you were within that window, you could get your money back. Now that everything is running through Steam, the refund policy follows Steam rules. Roughly a 14-day window and no more than 2 hours of playtime, although there is some adjustment for early access titles. That means if your plan is to binge the game for 20 hours and then decide whether to refund, you are going to be disappointed. If you think there's a chance you'll want a refund, you need to treat those first few hours like a focused demo. Log in, test performance, try a couple of classes, feel the combat, and decide fast. Let's talk about the good parts, because there are definitely some. Combat is in a pretty good place for an alpha. You have all 8 archetypes available at Steam Early Access: Tank, Cleric, Mage, Ranger, Fighter, Rogue, Bard, and finally the Summoner, which has been missing for most of the Alpha 2 and is a huge deal for pet and control lovers. The first 10 levels have been dramatically improved over the past few weeks and months. Leveling to 10 is faster. You actually get armor in the early game now. The starting experience is much more friendly to new users, and those first 10 levels are largely solo-friendly. That makes it very realistic to take several different classes up to level 10 and get a feel for what you enjoy before you commit. On top of that, the combat itself has a good feel. It's not perfect, and tuning is ongoing, but moment-to-moment gameplay, especially in PvP, is one of the strongest parts of the game so far. PvP is very much part of the world. You have a flagging and corruption system to discourage pure griefing, but open world conflict is built into caravans, crates, and contested grinding spots. Caravans let you move goods between regions in larger quantities, with other players able to attack and defend them. Crates are smaller but similar in concept, carried on your character. If you feel like the idea of PvPvE, where dungeons, grind spots, and trade routes all come with the risk of other players, Ashes already has enough in place to give you a taste of that. For people who enjoy crafting and economy, the Artisanship system has a lot of promise. Gathering, processing, and crafting already exist in a multi-step framework that is more complex than what you would get in most theme park MMOs. Costs have been tuned down a bit recently, so crafting is not as punishing in terms of raw gold and materials as it used to be, but it is still a grind in its own way. The important part is that you can already feel the shape of a deeper player-driven economy forming, even if a lot of the systems and balance passes are still to come. And then there's the human side, the dev team and community. Intrepid is very active on Discord. Many of the big testing pushes, surveys, and updates happen there first. The devs do pop into game from time to time, run events, and interact with players as well. The community itself is a mix, like any MMO. But there is a solid core of helpful veteran players and content creators who spend a lot of time answering questions, making guides, and helping new folks get oriented. If you like the feeling of being part of a long-running MMO project and watching it evolve over time, Ashes delivers that in a way a fully launched game never really can. Now let's flip the coin and talk about the parts that will drive you absolutely nuts. First and foremost, this is still an alpha. You should expect bugs. Some will be minor and funny, some will be game-breaking. You should expect lag, rubber banding, and disconnects, especially around major events and the December 11th rush. The server tech, including things like dynamic gridding for population management, is still being built and tuned. Servers will come down for fixes, some patches will make things better, others will accidentally break things that were once working before. That's the nature of testing. Content gaps are another major pain point. Your early leveling experience from 1 to 10 will likely be a positive one. It has been tuned to be much more friendly and faster. But once you pass level 10, you start to feel how incomplete the game is. The experience required per level spikes hard, and there simply isn't enough handcrafted questing, narrative content, and points of interest to support a smooth, varied progression path all the way to 25. That means a lot of your time will be spent in group grind spots, killing the same mobs over and over. If you love old school group grinding, that might sound great. If you prefer well-paced questing and story-driven content, you are going to feel the drag very quickly. The second starting area, the northern Dwarven area in the mountains, is also noticeably behind the Riverlands in terms of polish and content density. It does have quests, and it will improve over time, but going into it expecting parity with the original starter zone is going to set you up for disappointment. Then there's the problem of exploits and cheating. Any high-profile Unreal Engine MMO with publicly available client code is going to be a magnet for cheaters, and Ashes is no exception. We've already seen issues with dupes, speed hacks, combat hacks, caravan speed exploits, and real money trading. There is kernel-level anti-cheat installed, and Intrepid has talked about ban waves and enforcement, but you should not be shocked if you run into suspicious behavior. When you do, report it and move on. But understand that this is part of the reality of testing an MMO at this stage. We also need to talk about wipes and installations. With your purchase, you get access to both a production server and a PTR server. Production is meant to be the live environment, up 24/7 as much as possible. PTR is the focused test realm that comes up for specific systems, events, and patches, and then goes back down. PTR will get wiped frequently. That is its job. Production will also get wiped at times as systems change, progression paths are updated, and major content lands. Intrepid has said they'll try to minimize wipes where possible, but they are absolutely going to happen. If you are the kind of player who gets extremely attached to progress and hates losing it, that's something you need to be honest with yourself about. On top of that, because you have both production and PTR, you're probably looking at 2 installations. The game is not optimized yet, and it is still a large, heavy install. So you need the drive space, and you need the patience for big patches. So with all of that laid out, who should actually consider buying Ashes of Creation on December 11th, and who should just wait and watch? If you love MMORPGs and you are genuinely interested in being a part of a game's messy middle years, you might be a great fit for early access. If you enjoy testing, finding bugs, reporting exploits, and giving detailed feedback, this will absolutely keep you busy. If you're excited about PvX gameplay, open world PvP, caravans, contested grind spots, and systems-driven gameplay, you'll find a lot to poke at here. If you're okay playing in bursts, maybe you dive in hard for a couple of weeks, then step away until the next major patch, this kind of early alpha environment can be really rewarding. And if you want to support the long-term development of a big, ambitious MMO, and don't mind that full launch might still be a couple of years away, then the $50 bundle that carries you through Alpha 2, both betas, and gives you a month of sub time at launch is not a bad value. On the other hand, if what you want right now is a polished, content-rich MMORPG you can live in for hundreds of hours, this is not that. If you only have a small amount of time each week, and you know you'll be frustrated by wipes, broken quests, missing systems, and unstable patches, early access is going to feel like punishment. If you absolutely hate grindy progression and expect smooth, story-driven leveling all the way up, you should probably wait. And if you don't care about testing at all, and just want a finished game, then honestly, the smartest move is to wishlist Ashes of Creation, keep an eye on its progress, and jump in closer to launch or during beta when much of the game is in place. If you do decide to give it a shot on December 11th, here are a few practical tips to make that experience better. First, keep the refund window in mind. You only have a few hours of playtime if you want to be eligible for a Steam refund. So treat those first sessions like a focused test. See if your PC runs it well enough. Try a couple of classes to level 10, get a feel for the combat and networking, and then decide whether you're in for the long haul. Second, I'd recommend starting in the Riverlands rather than in the new Northern Dwarven area, at least for your very first character, because it's currently in a much more complete state. Once you're comfortable with the basics, then branch out and try the second starting zone if you want the contrast. Third, take advantage of how much smoother the early leveling has become, and try multiple classes to 10. This is the first time we've had all 8 archetypes, including the summoner, available in this way. Getting each of them up through the early game will give you a much better sense of what you want to stick with. Fourth, get into the official Discord. That's where test announcements, surveys, and a lot of dev communication happens. And it's also where you'll find many of the most active community members. It makes a huge difference to ask questions and get quick answers rather than flounder alone. So is Ashes of Creation worth $50 on Steam Early Access? For some of you, absolutely. If you want to help shape a big, ambitious sandbox MMO from its rough, half-finished middle, if you like PvX gameplay and don't mind wipes, grind, and bugs, you're going to find real moments of fun in Ashes. For others, the smartest play is to sit back, watch some streams and videos, track the updates, and wait until beta or even full release. Either way, I just want you to go in with realistic expectations. This is not the biggest, best MMORPG ever made. Not yet, anyways. Right now, it's a functional but very alpha game with huge potential and a long road ahead. If you found this helpful, hit like, leave a comment, and tell me, are you buying Ashes of Creation on Steam Early Access? Or are you waiting for beta or launch? And if you do jump in on December 11th, look up Phantom X and send me a friend request, and I'll see you in Vera.